Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video of World of Warships. And in this video, I'm going to be featuring Tier 11 Super Destroyer, which is a Shimakaze upgrade, and that is Yamagiri. Now Yamagiri, as you can already see in the title, it is really one of the powerful torpedo boat destroyers in this entire game. And it is certainly way better than Shimakaze. I will explain a lot of the strengths and weaknesses of Shimakaze, but you can already see that the top spread and the amount of torpedoes that you can able to send towards the target is absolutely insane. Look at that, 18 torpedoes. You can basically send torpedoes on this area and basically deny absolutely every single thing that is trying to push. In this case, I basically get a hit on a Burgon. And well, Yamagiri actually has a lot much better gun power compared to the Shimakaze, which is obviously a tier 10 destroyer. And hence the reason why I really love Yamagiri. It is absolutely strong. I will show you a couple of more clips. I think the Burgon just clipped the one torpedo and he got permanently flooded, which basically means that I will get, the kill, hopefully. But unfortunately there was a Zao with a permanent fire as well, so never mind, but I still did some damage. So Yamagiri actually has Shimakaze levels of concealment, again 5.6 kilometer concealment, which is found also on the Shimakaze, a tier 10 Japanese destroyer. But the thing is that other ships like Joshua Humphreys, which is an American destroyer, they have slightly worse concealment. Even the Kunming, which is a Pan-Asian destroyer at tier 11, also have worse concealment. But in this case, Yamagiri still have competitive concealment. Now in this case, obviously Yamagiri is shooting and I just not will try to shoot. And look at what happened here. I baited the Salem in this case. He popped the radar, even though I'm going to lose quite a bit of HP, but that guy does not have hydro. And only 3 torpedoes, which you will be able to find out, will able to kill this poor Salem. As you can see that tons of torpedoes are pretty devastating against cruiser. So you can see it is absolutely insanely powerful. And even though I have lost some HP, but the trade-off was very nice that I killed the Salem that is behind the island, which was really good. Competitive concealment along with the F key as well, which is again, I will show you a couple of more clips in this game, that it can be absolutely amazing whenever you want to basically hit and run. You can also pop the smoke, which I will absolutely able to show you here, that you can smoke up, you will shoot 3 of the salvos in just consecutive number of times, which is basically, I think it has 1 second between, it has 0.94 seconds in between the individual shots, which is really nice. And it does absolutely amazing. The alpha damage of this Yamagiri is also really nice, 2.1k alpha damage. It's pretty high, to be honest, considering it's a gunboat destroyer and having a really good reload time of 4.2 seconds. I mean, it does have a base 4.5 seconds, but adrenaline rush does kick in, which helps a lot. Now here, as you can able to see, I will just burst fire this Dalarna and pop myself in smoke, even though that was a terrible idea to basically pop the smoke in front of Dalarna, and there's also a Jinan. But you can see that the damage that I can actually do with this 3 salvos of burst almost taken down pretty good HP of this Dalarna. And he basically, can't see me because I'm in smoke, and I disengage pretty much. But again, if you do not know what you're doing, like I am right now, like I just comes out of the smoke for no reason, which was absolutely bad. Like I want to kill the Dalarna, but Dalarna does have heal. And you can see I did the really good damage again. Almost taking down the Dalarna, but it does have a lot of teammates supporting him. And my poor, mistake and the push out of the smoke killed me at the end. Short gameplay, but I will show you a couple of more clips so you can able to understand that why Yamagiri is too strong. So again, you can actually do really good shenanigans with Yamagiri, and in this clip you will be able to find out that I'm actually divisioning up with Ragnar, and this is an arms race mood, and since I have a really good concealment, you can basically outspot basically almost all destroyers in the game. In this case, there is going to be an Harugumo that will be pushing up to get this buff, but I have a Ragnar which does have a radar. It's a really good gunboat, and you know that it is a really strong ship. And you can see that I have basically outspotted Harugumo for basically too long, and he basically caught off guard. Now, there's again something that I'm a bit tempted to basically use, and that is this burst fire again. And you can see that the damage that you can actually do with this salvo is pretty insane. I look at the damage that I did. Almost like crazy 6,700 damage, which is pretty good. Now, I basically opened fire in front of Smolensk and Henry, which was a really bad idea. And Harugumo is also trying to kill me, because Harugumo does have a really good TPM. So I gotta be very careful. But unfortunately, he get burned down by getting 2 permanent fires on top of him, which basically makes his life even worse. And somehow I managed to get a decent trade, because Yamagiri also have really good HP pool of around 26,000, which is obviously slightly gotten buffed with this arms race mode, and that's the reason why it does have this higher HP, but it does have around 26,000 HP, which is really nice. Concealment, combined with the fact that it has this burst fire mode and having a really good detection, means that Yamagiri can absolutely do great deal of damage against destroyers with its burst fire, and you do also have insane torpedo damage. Okay, so one thing that you should be really careful of when playing Yamagiri is that it does have a really bad, anti-defense. And when you are actually having a carrier gameplay in the game, obviously there's going to be a lot of problems that Yamagiri will face. And especially if it's a really good carrier player, you should have your smokes ready. If you don't have your smokes ready and you get radared potentially here, and if the Midway really realizes this situation, he will definitely going to target you with bombs. Now, Midway is definitely a lot powerful against destroyers with its HE bomb and rockets, so you gotta be careful. In this case, obviously, I tried to help my Jaeger with the Sama A, but Yamagiri A is nothing to brag about. It is really not good. Just like its predecessor Shimakaze, it is absolutely not going to help a lot, and you eventually have to smoke up in many situations. As you can see, there is a Midway planes coming right around this area, and I had this really high fear that he might spot me, which I really don't want to do as a destroyer, even though he basically using torpedo bombers. So I just slightly turn on A and shoot down some of his HP. it's hilarious to do, but you should not do that. I do that sometimes. I mean, it does not help a lot. You won't be able to shoot down the planes, but you will at least damage one plane, get some planes HP off, and that's basically about it. Now, as you can see here, that there is a Brisbane who was broadside, and I decided to use the burst fire mode, which you can absolutely do that. And I mean, I go behind the island, I will try to disengage, and this is something that you can do, and I would call this tactic a hit and run method, which basically helps a lot. In this case, Brisbane does radar, but I was in a safe position. I didn't shoot the guns a whole lot. There is the problem, that is Midway, but I would be lucky enough here, and I do have smoke really, so I shouldn't be having any issues whatsoever against Midway. Midway obviously cannot basically drop me when I'm in the smoke, or at least will not going to have really good accuracy or miss me completely. So that's the reason why I'm good, and he's actually not coming for me for apparently no reason. I don't know why, but well, that's actually good. But he's again started to come back, then I know that it's gonna be a bit of a problem. But here I'm just gonna try to showcase you that if a Midway player is really bad, in this case he just pressed the F button. I think the A6 plane actually tanked, and hence the reason why I shoot down some of his planes, but didn't manage to even shot down one. Like, I was trying, but it does not work at all. And honestly, if you're trying to get the caps in Yamagiri, that is definitely possible, but it is always a sort of a death trap. And in this case, I know that the Midway might spot me, so I just smoke up. I know that the A6 doesn't have a fighter plane on top of me, so that's actually a bit of a problem. Now, you can see here that the Midway actually will try to, drop me with his rockets, and hence the reason why you should have smoke ready when you know that the carrier player is actually trying to drop you here. Now, in this case, Brisbane probably trying to shoot HE in smoke, which I can clearly see, but A6, my my player in this in our team actually trying to help a lot, giving us fighters because they are really strong, which does help us a lot. Okay, so I will emphasize again and again that Yamagiri does have these really good guns, and as a Yamagiri player, you should absolutely try to use it whenever possible. And you will certainly able to see that I have again my smoke ready, and there is a destroyer which is Joshua Humphreys apparently, and he is in the smoke. I sent the torpedoes. Now I have a fear that he will basically dodge them because of his angle, that where he is shooting from, so it's not going to work for now. But obviously I will talk about the guns, because the guns of Yamagiri are pretty insanely good. Honestly, they are really good if you use them properly, and with the F key button, which can basically burst fire at least 3 salvos, basically means that you can basically have your guns ready, which in this case I have loaded the alternative firing mode, and I have my smoke ready as well. So if I will spot the Joshua Humphreys, I can basically just smoke up and disengage very quickly while shooting this Joshua Humphreys. And in this case, he's actually running away, which is pretty much obvious. And I just press the F button, and then I basically chunked him, like, look at that, like almost half the HP. Like, he is like lost so much HP, and I smoked up here, which is really nice. Now, he also used the F button, but again, it was a bit of a trade-off. But if you just do this properly and nicely, you can get a lot of value. Now in this case, he basically doesn't have smoke because he just used the smoke really. So I will have my F key button ready, and he seems to be not in a bad, or at least in a good position to basically disengage. So you can see there that he disengages. I press the F button again, and I use my alternative firing mode, eventually killing the Joshua Humphreys. That is a really good advantage whenever you're playing Yamagiri. I will showcase a couple of more clips where the torpedoes does shine a lot, and you will definitely love it as a torpedo boat here, pretty much. Well, the Yamagiri definitely shines a lot when there is not a whole lot of carriers in the game, and in this one there is not a single carrier, obviously, which helps a lot. And this basically gives Yamagiri this amazing flexibility with its insane concealment and a really good, at least relatively good gunpowder. For a ship like this, for a torpedo boat like this, makes Yamagiri really flexible, and you can absolutely go and try to get around the flanks where the battleships is trying to kite away and trying to farm our other BBs like this Conqueror. And there is also Ohio and Wujing, and this is something that you should absolutely do whenever you're playing Yamagiri. Try to speed boost here. I mean, the speed of Yamagiri is also very impressive. It has 39.5 seconds of base speed, which combine the fact that if you use this thing, Swift in Silence, as well as if you get a extra speed boost, which basically 8% even more, and I mean that helps a lot in getting Yamagiri speed up to 48 knots. Yes, 48 knots. Like this speed basically means that you can absolutely go and try to ham on any battleship, and they will never gonna be able to outrun you. Or these torpedoes are also pretty nice, as you can see here. You have these torpedoes that does 23,000 damage, and you have seen what I have done with that poor Salem. And then I also have these alternative torpedoes, which are understandably, they're okay. I don't recommend you to do this, but this is how you should really, play Yamagiri, just like I am. I'm just using these torpedoes, and they will do pretty decent damage. 12 kilometer is basically going to be enough in this one. Now, I was very close to this Conqueror, and there's just a bit of a problem whenever I play at least torpedo boats, that somehow the battleships tend to basically turn away, and in this case, Conqueror actually realized that he will basically push back in, and he will basically dodge all the torpedoes, which is pretty unfortunate. But the Yamagiri reload time is pretty good. I mean, it has 118 seconds of reload time with my build. I will show you the build, captain build, and upgrades at the end, so you can actually able to find out. But you can see here that you have to actually manage to get your targets in such a way that you can land some torpedoes. Now in this case, Conqueror turned out and basically pushing back in, which basically means that I have another chance in just a couple of minutes to basically drop this Conqueror again. What I usually do here, that I actually only use 2 salvos of torpedoes, which is 12. And then I just save one maybe later where I need to use, and that will help a lot in basically doing more damage over time against battleships. So if you miss 2 of those torpedo sets, you will eventually get one probably going to land on a battleship. In this case, I'm just dropping this on Conqueror, and hopefully with these torpedoes that are coming around, I might be managing to at least get a couple of torpedo hits, at least on Conqueror or maybe Wujing. I do believe that Wujing might eat torpedoes here, but I don't remember. But that's how Yamagiri play is really about. You can actually go and try to basically deal damage with these torpedoes, and these torpedoes are really high damaging ones. Again, Conqueror turned in, decided to basically not hit the island, and in this case I just completely missed the Wujing and the Conqueror. And well, since I have only used one set of torpedoes, and they basically knows that there is a big threat that is Yamagiri for them. I'm sure that they know this by now, but you can still basically send the torpedoes because they have to push back either towards A or maybe towards B. But in this case, well, I think the Conqueror or Wujing, I think the Wujing definitely is gonna push back in, and I have 2 set of torpedoes ready, which is 12 of them, and they are obviously very high damaging torpedoes, so I don't think so that they will be able to manage themselves to basically survive from this, deadly salvo. Now in this case, Conqueror also pushing back, so I'm sure at least one or two battleship, maybe both of them, might eat some torpedoes. And boy, whenever they hit like an absolute truck. Now in this case, I think Conqueror realizes the situation somehow again. I mean, he was moving a bit slower, and for some reason, even though the torpedoes got spotted, Wujing didn't realizing this situation that he's going to be in right now. And eventually he will eat all 2 torpedoes. That would be basically going to be enough to kill this poor guy. Now, as I said, you have extra torpedo salvo ready. And since Conqueror is pushing like, crazy towards A, and he has to do something because they are losing this game, and Conqueror does have a lot of HP, I know that this set potentially can go and hit him. So I basically use my 48 knots of speed. As you can see, I have Destroyer Brisk, I have this skill which increases 8% speed, as well as my engine boost, helping a lot. So I send this torpedo set here, and well, I'm going to get slightly bit surprised because there is one DD that actually get into the B cap. Now, Conqueror is basically sailing forward, but the problem is there is something on the B cap. So again, you will be able to find out how strong Yamagiri really gets. Now, Yamagiri versus Yamagiri. So I just, smoke up. He smokes up as well. He's not shooting the guns for some reason. I shoot the guns, but I sort of missed him. I don't know how, but well, as you can see, 3 torpedoes, 49,000 damage just from 3 torpedoes. And imagine the torpedo damage. If he have eaten at least one more torpedo, he might have gotten deathstroke here. But well, that's for maybe another video maybe. But here in this case, you can see Yamagiri actually trying to rush me since he has some, some support. But I basically shot him at the end. Conqueror shoot me at the end as well. I killed the Yamagiri, did some good damage to Conqueror, and did some damage at the end. But see, I mean, you can see that the potential of Yamagiri is there. And honestly, I'm not really a good torpedo boat player, but still, it shows how much strong Yamagiri really is in the game. So now we'll go into the port and show you my captain skills and upgrades real quick. Now before that, it was unfortunately a defeat. So I did some good damage, got 2 kills, and then in the team score, obviously that much damage, only 100,000 damage is enough to basically put me into 1.3k base XP loss, which is kind of unfortunate, but it does still show how much strong Yamagiri really is for tier 11 destroyer. It is too strong if you know what you're doing. If you're not like me, and if you know how to basically use torpedoes to your advantage, which I'm kind of doing it in this game, but still it's not good enough, you can be an absolute menace in this ship. Now I will show you the captain skills and upgrade real quick. So I have Yamagiri right now in my port. It is a really good destroyer with its pretty good survivability of 26,000, as I said before. It also have really good guns. 4.5 seconds of reload time with the, if I use this, if I have this base build, which is actually 4.5 seconds. The reason why it does have 4.7 seconds, I will go towards the captain skills real quick. And in this case, you can see here that I have Swift in silence. So what does that do is basically slightly nerf the main battery reload time, which in this case definitely nerfs slightly the reload time of the guns to 4.7 seconds. like compared to 4.5, but you get 8% ship speed in return, which is absolutely a requirement for a torpedo boat destroyer. And this basically increases the maneuverability up to 48 knots, combined with the fact that you also have speed boost, which is 8% increase as well. Then, you use Concealment Expert because the concealment of Yamagiri is pretty insanely good for a destroyer like that. 5.6 kilometer, like Shimakaze, so it does not have worse concealment than Shimakaze, unlike Kunming and even Joshua Humphreys, if I'm not wrong, by the way. Then, you use Survivability Expert. It does have a lot much more, more HP pool compared to Shimakaze, which is really good. Then you use Adrenaline Rush. Then you also use Fill the Tubes, which increases or at least decreases the torpedo tube reload time by 10%, improving the torpedo's reload to almost 118 seconds, which is really nice. Then obviously you need last stand because you want to not get your engine get knocked out all the time. And you will still try to basically move in partial speed. And then you have Consumable Specialist. Well, I use this because I didn't have Superintendent. You can also use this thing, but the torpedoes flood chance of Shimakaze and Yamagiri is already really high, so it's sort of not worth it. And preventive maintenance is going to be really important because you don't want your torpedoes to get incapacitated all the time, and they will have this reload time reset. So that is the captain skill that I use for Yamagiri. For the upgrades, obviously, again, build for torpedoes for 6th slot and 3rd slot. This increases the speed. This improves the reload time by 15%. Then you use Concealment Expert, you need Propulsion Mod 1, as well as you need Engine Room Protection, or you can also use Engine Boost Mod 1, so you can increase the duration of engine boost even further, which does help a lot in juking those torpedoes that are coming towards your way because it does not have access to hydro. Then you use basically Mains Armaments Mod 1. So this is basically Yamagiri. Now, as you can see here, it does have 2 sets. I don't use 20 kilometer torpedoes pretty much almost all the time. They can be useful if you want to drop on a carrier that is basically stationary, but other than that, I don't see any really value to this because it has 2.5 kilometer detection, and that is way too bad. They will be spotted from the moon. Your concealment, as you can see, is pretty good. Your A concealment is 3.2, which does mean that you can be spotted by a carrier, and they can absolutely do a lot of damage since it's AA defense, as I said in the game. It's not really impressive. The depth charges, on the other hand, is pretty good, and you can actually kill submarines in just a couple of strikes once you started to drop those depth charges. So that is really good. Overall, I think Yamagiri is something that you will love it. If you are a torpedo boat player, if you love torpedo ships, Yamagiri is probably the epitome of what you can get out of this Japanese destroyer line. It does have very little to no weaknesses. It does have weakness of poor entire defense, and the gun power problem that it used to have on Shimakaze, well, Yamagiri slightly gets a lot much better in terms of gun performance by just having straight up better reload time compared to Shimakaze's 5.7. It does have 5.7 or 5.6 seconds of reload time. Yamagiri has 4.5 seconds of reload time. And now this reload time is almost getting towards the level of Hayate, which is again a gun-focused and torpedo-focused gunboat or torpedo boat destroyer at T11. It's a hybrid between Shimakaze and Harugumo. It is getting closer to that in terms of reload time. So you can see that how strong the guns really are. And then on top of that, you have this F button, literally giving this ship even more flexibility to basically hit and run, basically. You basically smoke up, you shoot 3 salvos, and you basically disengage while he takes a massive 12,000 damage if you have a really good aim on that poor destroyer, which is really possible if you use it correctly. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you like this gameplay and you like this short clips of where Yamagiri tend to be strong. If you try to overextend it here and there a bit, Yamagiri can sometimes be a problem, but if you know what you're doing, and if you try to basically flank around battleships, whenever there is a safer position, you will basically obliterate battleships. Like I did that on Wujing and Conqueror. I was pretty much having this open ability to basically drop torpedoes without getting, spotted by a radar or a destroyer. But at the end, it's still possible that you might not going to have really insane games. But sometimes you have a chance to take on battleships and you can do a lot of damage. And this is a fun factor that I really love about Yamagiri. and it is really good torpedo boat. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked the gameplay, and if you do like it, please like, comment, and share, and I will catch you into the next one. Peace out.